disclaimer thing, right? Alright, give me a second. I gotta do this disclaimer thing. We are going live. Now, we knew this information a long time ago. We just didn't have all the receipts. At least I didn't. Alright, so it took this woman. She's, I guess, a journalist. And she was able to, go, find some paperwork that not everybody, can or have the time to do so. So, thank you. Again, to this channel, I don't know the name of the channel. Hold on. Alright. I have to open it in order to, be able to read the name. What's the name? Okay, The Interview Room. I love this channel. Everybody does. Okay, so you guys can go there to watch the original. I will post the original at the bottom. Because obviously, when people are talking over things, it becomes an issue. Alright, now, I kept telling you, it doesn't matter what, what subject ever I put out, okay? It doesn't matter what video I put out. It doesn't matter the subject. It's in every single one of the videos. Every single one. That this incident has to do with the house and the university. And yes, they are doing illegal things. Every single thing that we're finding is not obsolete. It is not false. It is 100% real. So this is what's so scary and dangerous, is that they will single out somebody who's weird. They will research that person to make sure that if they're going to make that person a fall guy, nobody's going to question it. Nobody's going to be able to stop. Nobody's going to be able to help them. I'm telling you that Brian Kohberger has been tailed for a very long time. And whatever they had plans with this house was planned for a very long time. Okay, so yeah, they've already handpicked Brian Kohberger a long time ago. But of course, they had to make sure, hey, is it going to work? And so far, it's working. I don't know how in the world it's working, but okay, we're gonna listen to this. And yeah, I got to do the whole disclaimer thing. Hold on, give me a minute. All right, I got time. Just chill. Let's find my disclaimers. Yeah, I have no choice. I'm so sorry. I got it in here somewhere. It's a disclaimer video. I swear if I could just go to an album, we'd be better off, right? Here we go. Woo-hoo. There we go. Disclaimer.
Fair use for purposes such as criticism.
It wasn't that hard. Just chill.
Comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Okay, so if you want me to take it down, like I said, please contact me. I am not hard to contact. You can even leave me a message, okay? I'm talking to the owner of the channel. There's no reason to attack a channel and do copyright stuff to anybody. Give them a chance. And this is for any one of you assholes out there that want to do copyright strikes when we're just discussing your shit. Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to be nice. I really am. Okay, here we go.
On the right here, look at
December 9th. And
22 at 4:15 in the afternoon.
So what this means, you guys, is that the LLC that owned the home where the crimes happened, they changed their registered agent. So all that means on the surface of it, and the registered agent is a third party that basically oversees the LLC. You send your, it becomes the address, the official mailing address, and for tax purposes. So what we know about the owners of the house, they had a registered agent in town in Moscow, and they moved it to Boise, Idaho. So that was the first inkling of.
Now, before we go on, everything seems to come out of Boise. Every single character we have been looking at seems to be coming from Boise. Everybody knows how far Boise is. So why is everything coming out of Boise? People, you name it, okay? You don't have to agree with me. That's fine, but it's going to come out. But everything seems to come from here. Okay.
Something is going on with the home in terms of the public or the property records.
So, honey, somebody had a question.
Oh, before we go on, Frankie's at the bottom. So it says Franklin G. Lee. So we're going to find out who that is. Because I don't know exactly. I didn't even look him up yet. But I'm telling you, it may be our Frankie. You know, he's a big time dealer. That doesn't mean he doesn't have enough money to purchase a house. But it may not be our Frankie. Okay, I may just be reading it wrong. Okay, again, that's my opinion. I didn't look nothing up yet. But that would be shocking. But I'd love to find out who Mr. Frankie Lee is.
What's an LLC?
Oh, sure. Limited Liability Corporation is what an LLC is. And it's basically for tax purposes. It's a designation by the IRS, and it's a business. It's an indication that this entity is a business entity. So,
all right, for people who probably may think it's a business for something else. No, if you're renting out your house, the safest thing to do is to LLC it, because so anything should happen that you're liable for, they can't come after you personally. They can only come after your LLC. All right, so that they don't clean you out. You did something wrong or something happened to them and it's because of you. They don't clean you out for everything you have, because they can take everything you got if they sue you personally. So an LLC is so important, especially when you own a business. Okay.
I'm sure there's lawyers and accountants out there in watching that there's more specific, but I'm just leaving it pretty general for you guys to understand. And again, an LLC doesn't necessarily mean there's 15, 20 owners. It could be one person. In this case, we know it's more than one person because of the documents.
So the new registered agent as of December 9th becomes this commercial registered agent, Givens Pursley Corporate Services, LLC. So it's one LLC to another. They transfer it from one corporation to the next. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think they transferred it. It didn't change its name or anything like that. It's literally they changed the third party that operates it from Moscow to Boise. And on the surface, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Right, except for Brian
All right, but before we go on, it does change the name. I mean, look at it. You got one that says Team Idaho Real Estate. And then the other company is now Givens something Corporate Services LLC. That's two different names. So I don't know where she thinks it doesn't change names. Maybe it doesn't change addresses or property code. Maybe, I don't know.
Kohberger is not in custody yet on December 9th, and they're already moving to start getting rid of this house. Okay?
You see, you heard that? You heard that? He wasn't even arrested yet, and they're already moving to get rid of the house. Listen to it one more time. Sorry, I just gotta do it, Listen.
So that was the first inkling of something is going on with the home in terms of the public or the property records.
So, honey, somebody had a question. What's an LLC?
Oh, sure. Limited Liability Corporation is what an LLC is, and it's basically for tax purposes. It's a designation by the IRS, and it's a business. It's an indication that this entity is a business entity. So I'm sure there's lawyers and accountants out there in watching that there's more specific, but I'm just leaving it pretty general for you guys to understand. And again, an LLC doesn't necessarily mean there's 15, 20 owners. It could be one person. In this case, we know it's more than one person because of the documents.
So the new registered agent as of December 9th becomes this commercial registered agent, Givens Pursley Corporate Services LLC. So it's one LLC to another. They transfer it from one corporation to the next. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think they transferred it. It didn't change its name or anything like that. It's literally they changed the third party that operates it from Moscow to Boise. And on the surface, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Right, except for Brian Kohberger is not in custody yet on December 9th. And they're already moving to start getting rid of this house. Okay? The one thing you don't want to do is don't challenge a real reporter.
Okay. He's going to be boasting her. He boasts her a lot. I think he really likes her. Let's see if we get past that.
Why did the owners, the LLC, feel the need to gift it to the school? There's obvious questions. Did the owners know Scott Green? I would also throw in here, at the time all this was happening, Scott Green, the president of University of Idaho, never revealed that his family used to own that home years ago. And it wasn't until somebody in the media looked it up and confronted him, and his official word was something like, well, I don't remember the home, because he was a young boy. And he didn't feel like it was pertinent to the horrific crimes that happened in that house. So, you just have to wonder. And I was, talking this through with Chris, and I said, okay, look, so we know Scott Green is 62 years old, and we know that he was born in Moscow, Idaho. We know he would have been something like 5 years old, something like that, when his father purchased the house at 1122, used to be called King Place. Now, we don't know. It's unclear if the family ever lived there or not. By 1972, his dad sold that property. And the family, as far as we could research, by 1969 had moved to Boise, Idaho. So we don't know if he ever stepped foot in that house, if it was income property of some sort for his father, whatever. But he did have a connection to it, and he didn't reveal it at the time. Again, this is all part of what's been reported in the past on this. But you really have to wonder: was there a conversation? My question is: was there a conversation between Scott Green and the owners of gifting it to the university so the university could get rid of it?
Yeah, and this is what got her moving everybody towards, hey, wait a minute, there's more to this problem than people are seeing here. And next thing you know it,
we all questioned this, all of us. I've questioned it for a year. I'm not the only one. Other sleuths have questioned it. But how do you get that type of answer? How, you can't really do anything anyway. If you could talk about it till you're blue in the face. Okay? These are people in powerful positions of ownership. Powerful positions where the officers are going to defend them because they are the ones that are giving them money for their projects and their jobs. Yeah, you would think, oh, we're paying the taxes, that it's us that's paying them.
right? He's showing me all these documents that I'm going to show you here in the next document we're going to go to. And you start chasing $1 million. Is that correct?
I started asking the obvious questions that a lot of us have about the $1 million that we heard Idaho Governor Little pledge to the school. And so I thought, well, let me read.
Now, I did find something like this, guys, but they denied it. They turned it down. And I know there's an amount of money that they actually turned down, and I forgot what it was for. But I did cover it. So, but I don't know what this one could be the same thing or it could be something different.
Out to the school and let's find out about this. And so the school hasn't gotten back to me, and I don't know if they will or not. So we, without knowing that, we just dug up some documents and followed kind of what a very few other media are looking into. I was kind of surprised. There are a few media looking into it, not nearly as much as back in the day that we would have. So this was an additional
Oh, trust me, I've been trying, okay? I just don't have, like, the documentation or, saying I'm, like an investigative reporter, because I'm not, so it's not, I don't even know how to ask for this stuff, okay? But it's not like I wasn't trying. I'm still trying to get the property history so I can understand the land.
$1 million that the university was given. And I think Chris has the House bill up for you guys to see. For some reason, they declared this an emergency of funding. So it was kind of unusual that it would be considered an emergency. I mean, if you think about it, on November 13th, that was when the murders took place. Well,
yeah, and okay, I don't mean to stop you, honey, because I know you're on a roll. But everybody, let's think about this for a moment. Okay. This is a crime that happens in the city, the community. The university decides this could be a money grab. Well, the families in this situation are gagged and told nobody can talk about anything. So who controls the narrative from day?
Oh, I could tell you, it's the university and Mr. Green. Yipper. They've been controlling it since day one. Oh yeah, and don't forget their ladies. Okay, that's their staffs now, and one gentleman that I know of so far who decided they're gonna take over. Actually, it's two gentlemen. Excuse me. Take over the media. Yeah.
One in this particular crime, including making the decision to move on and let the community heal, the University of Idaho. And that command staff up there, or whatever you want to call them, the administrators. Okay. And
I'm sorry, but heal? What? We can't heal until the murderer is done, caught, prosecuted, ready for the chopping block, okay? There's no such thing as healing until then.
And so somebody reaches out to the legislators and the governor's office, and in the book, Scott Green tells everybody he was so gracious that the governor handed him another $1 million. And this is the bill that basically right here, line 6, and declaring an emergency. Now, mind you, the emergency is funds are coming out of the city of Moscow and the taxpayers. This guy is grabbing state money in a state school for something that happened around the block. Okay.
Hold on, and it did not belong to the university. No, it didn't belong. Oh, and then we call this money laundering. Yes, we do. They have to find a way to circulate the money. So moving the house back and forth from LLC to this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, How much did that cost? Did they put in a bid? Did they put it at 0? Did they just switch it? There's so many things. But it's a special way of money laundering. How did they get that much money from the state to give away? Where are they getting it? Why are they giving it away? Okay, so they have to come up with some type of donation or loss. I don't know how that money laundering completely goes, because if I did, I think I would totally blow all this out of the water.
Technically off campus. Yeah.
Technically off campus, 100% off campus. In fact, it's owned by a private entity, the house. Let's not forget that. That entity pays taxes to not only the state, but they pay taxes to the county where that house sat. They didn't pay taxes to the University of Idaho. But the University of Idaho pulled a slick one here, everybody, and they grabbed taxpayer money.
Now, let me jump in real quick and say that when this bill was before Idaho lawmakers, a number of key lawmakers said no. They did not want to give the $1 million to University of Idaho, including a representative from the city of Moscow, Latah County, and including the Kootenai County area people where the victims' families lived. And some of what they said was that this wasn't itemized. A lot of people had, some of these lawmakers had concerns. I'm going to go to my notes here for a second. And one of the lawmakers said it was suspiciously round figure. They voted against it because it was a suspiciously round figure of $1 million. And this lawmaker said, you know, if they would have spent it and come back and we would reimburse them and I could see what the costs are, I'm all in. But because that wasn't the case, a lot of, people, some of these lawmakers were not comfortable. It was a guesstimate and there was no details of all of the costs. And that's what we were looking into. Let's have some details of where this money went. So we got as far as line items, and we'll show you guys that. But our questions on where the money specifically went, the university has refused to this date to release that. We are trying to get it. We don't have it right now. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, and also, Han, point out on line 13 that they tied it into the fiscal year starting in July of 22 into that fiscal year budget. So any allocated funds that had been given to the university in July of 22 for their new fiscal year budget, this $1 million was retroactive into that budget cycle so that they could have this money, and it was sold to the legislation under the guise of that item 13 related to a security incident. Okay. And now that's why you get some of these other politicians who said, wait a minute, what about the cops? What about this? What about that? Okay. In the community there. Okay. And look at line 15, they put in here, well, then you're going to have to show us an accounting of what you do with this money. And so in line 21, everybody can see, okay, an emergency existing, therefore, which emergency is hereby declared to exist. Okay. So this is back, and, we don't have the date on this particular. Do you know the date, honey, on this one? When the bill was first put in? I forgot to ask you that. My bad.
It was passed about a year ago. It was passed in March of last year of 2023.
All right, so it's right here. It's June 30th, 2023. It was, I guess, set by for July 1st. They were working on it, so it's right here. and then finished by June 30th.
Are you on page 2 yet of the letter, or is that just the bill?
That's just the bill. You want me to go back to the letter?
Yeah, let's jump to the letter so people have more of a context about this. So the University of Idaho president, Scott Green, was required to provide a list of, go back to the top of that letter so people can put this in perspective. So this is dated August 1st, last August 1st, 2023. And this is where he had to give an accounting of the $1 million. Where is the $1 million going to go? What did you spend it on? Where is it? And so if you scroll through that letter, that's probably a lot of legal, politician speak. We get to a line item budgeting.
Okay, well, this is a really important letter, though, just for a second, okay? Because he ties in the Idaho State Police into this conversation, which to politicians, that elevates the problem here, okay, to sell this, to the committee, okay? And he ties in Colonel, Kedrick Wills, director of the Idaho State Police, and his dedicated officers who immediately responded and provided around-the-clock protection to our campus during the uncertain period leading up to the suspect's arrest. Okay? So the job of the Idaho State Police, okay, is to do just that with or without the university's request. Okay? And those are streets that are assigned to the community, i.e. those are city streets. So what happens in a smaller agency like Moscow is they run out of resources because they're working this murder. So they call for mutual aid. That mutual aid comes to the community, i.e. the chief in Moscow, who's retiring May 1. Let's not forget that, everybody. And says, okay, we'll run your daily calls for service while you guys are tied up at 1122. Okay? This was not something that just arbitrarily, that the university says, hey, I want to thank ISP for showing up, because we needed you. No, it's the opposite of that. LA riots, any kind of problem that is a problem, you request mutual aid, and the agencies around have to respond. Okay?
Okay, so more in a smaller note, easier to understand. That $1 million did not need to go anywhere near the university. The university should have had nothing to do with that, or just distributing that around. That was none of their business. It could have went straight to the Idaho police office, to their I'm not going to say the words right, but basically it could have went straight to them, and then they could have made that budget exactly the way that they were supposed to. The Idaho University took that away from them, still keeping them as, what do you call, slave? Okay. So they feel that they still got to be beck and call to the university because the university holds all the cards. They hold all the rules. They hold all the money. And I don't think that they realized, or they were educated enough to know that shit was backwards. That money should have went straight to them. They did not have to go through the university. They do not have to be a slave, patented to the university like they have been. This is another reason why the university had so much protection, because these police officers, these entities, sheriffs, whatever, they really need the funds. They really don't know their rights when it comes to this. They feel like everything runs off that university, and without that university, they have nothing. How did that happen? How do they not know that they don't need the university to fund them? And that house did not belong to the university. None of those properties at all within that neighborhood, none of them belonged to the university. You had people who were going to school living in those houses, yes. But you're also mixing, even in the apartment complexes, individuals that are not going to school. And there's other houses there where there's students roommating with non-students. But it still has nothing to do with the university. Now, this lovely change hands of the university thing. Wait till you find out who's involved in this. But again, I got to get the receipts. And I already told you who the queen was. And why she was so A-okay for the house to go down. And this is sad to say because this is one of the victims' mother. Okay? And, but you'll see. You'll see. It's going to come out. What her true pull is on this house and with the university. And I'll just say it out loud, Ethan's mother. But for now, this is my opinion only. No facts until I throw it at you.
Now, that's an interesting, or that's a really important point, because he's tying this in to his letter of accountability back to the legislation in the state of Idaho. Okay? Attaches an itemized accounting of expenditure of the $1 million appropriation and additional expenditures incurred in responding to the security incident, the university's swift response measures, and the management of the King Road house to date. Again, that had nothing to do with the university other than the students went there. The victims went to that university. Okay? And so in the aftermath of this tragedy, we have made significant efforts to bolster our security programs and the custodianship of the location where these tragedies occurred.
Their security. The university's security. Not human rights security. Not the citizens' security. No, the university security. Okay, these students did not live in any of your dorms. They lived outside. That is their life. That also means their life is not in your hands, university. They may be your students, but that is it. Now, if they're on your property or in your housing, that's a different story. Nobody in the university was in trouble. Nobody was being hunted. Nobody was being murdered there. This is a citizen situation, not a university situation.
He admits they took the house. He just said it. Custodianship of the location, i.e., the university, is a steward now over that property and land. Okay? We will cover the additional expenditures from our reserves. This is a money grab at the expense of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan and their families. Okay? It is important to highlight.
And you know, the parents right now should be so appalled. They should be fighting this. They should be questioning this. But why aren't they? Really think about that. So we already know that 2 of the parents probably ain't got enough brain for it. And only 2 do. Which is Mr. Gonzalez and Ethan's mother. They would be the smartest people. You know, the smartest family member of the victims out of the rest of them. Okay, so what's going on here?
The expenditures related to the King Road house are ongoing and have included security, removal of personal items for retrieval by family members, and remedies of hazardous substances in preparation for tearing down the existing structure. We expect further expenditures in the future as we demolish the King Road property. Is there any question now for anybody, meaning the university, that you folks drove the destruction of probably one of the highest profile crime scenes in this country?
I'm going to finish out his sentence because it's really good, but mine I think is much better. Yeah, everybody wants to put down my my findings, ignore my videos, right? When it comes to that, what's under that house. Why do you think they really wanted to tear down this house, guys? What do you think that they're hiding? It's not just the house. There's some cupboards, some walking areas behind the walls that somebody can crawl and walk or stand in, okay? There's things about that house we don't know. But guess what? A jury will never see it. Yeah, you're probably like, oh, well, Taylor was there and the prosecution okay, wait, hold up. Taylor may not know where to look. She's walking through the house, but she may not be thinking, wait a minute, the wall's crooked. Why is the wall shaped like that? She's probably not thinking that. Or maybe she's seen it. Maybe she actually seen all the cubbies. And she already knows. Okay? But she definitely made sure she went through it. But tearing down the house, nobody's ever going to experience. No one's going to ever be able to experience an old basement that they sealed up. Okay? They're not going to experience any new type of basement or even storage that could have been under that house. And I don't care what anybody says about me. Okay, I really don't. Why build a house on a mound? Okay, the mound is still there. All they did was cover it with some type of it's a coloring ground sheet or whatever they call it, so that as you're moving around it with a camera, it changes, so you can't see the true layout of it. So, They crushed it down the best that they could. Yes, they did, but they ain't done. And they've probably been working on it, while we're not looking, while we're not even paying attention. But they've probably been working on it. So I told you specifically, everybody keeps saying, oh, she making up stories. She wasn't there. She lying. Okay, it's coming out. I also, or a conspiracy theorist. The plans with that land. I already told you what they can and can't do to the shape of that land. And what they would have to do in order to be able to deal with any water so water doesn't retain in the bowl. So that land, that property has to be propped up a certain way. It's for water irrigation. All right, so people who understand landscaping, they would probably do a better job explaining all this. But there's something about that house that was so important to take down. So important.
Before a trial, you could have done it at the very end of this thing. And everybody would have been able to say, okay, let's tear it down, make it go away. But you chose to do this from the office of Scott Green, president, so you could have some chapters in your book. Wow. And let's look at your expenditures here. Karen, what did you find out?
Well, these are general. This is not this actually leads to more questions. So the first one, I was sort of blown away at the first one, if you guys can see it. He's got Idaho State Police meals and lodging. So I remember reading in Scott Green's book that just came out about the murders, he characterized the state police, Idaho State Police on campus, as, quote, volunteers. That's his word.
Do you have
That's what he said in the book. I do. I want to go back and just read this to you guys. I'm in his book. Okay, this is the book Scott Green wrote. Here's what he says about the Idaho State Police being on campus right after the murders. Quote, the governor was so supportive, immediately pledging $1 million to accommodate our response to...
Whoops.
Did she get cut off?
Hang on for a minute. She'll be right back.
Okay, if she's saying that the university was at the scene, I told you that they were at the scene before real authorities, so hold on. I may have missed it a minute. Apologize.
Wow. And let's look at your expenditures here. Karen, what did you find out?
Well, these are general. This is not what... This actually leads to more questions. So the first one, I was sort of blown away at the first one, if you guys can see it. He's got Idaho State Police meals and lodging. So I remember reading in Scott Green's book that just came out about the murders, he characterized the state police, Idaho State Police on campus, as, quote, volunteers. That's his word.
Do you have
That's
the
what
page?
he said in the book.
Page, huh?
I do. I want to go back and just read this to you guys. I'm in his book. Okay, this is the book Scott Green wrote. Here's what he says about the Idaho State Police being on campus right after the murders. Quote, the governor was so supportive, immediately pledging $1 million to accommodate our response to...
Whoops.
As soon as she comes back, did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? That they're being considered as volunteers. What? I mean, not only did they get robbed, okay, of $1 million by the university, they're still stuck as stupid slaves to the university. Now they are what? Volunteers? So what happened? Did they not get paid for their heroism and for the work that they put in? And so what's going on if they're volunteers? How are they at the courthouse taking down Brian Kohberger? It's the Idaho State Police, right?
Hang on for a minute. She'll be right back. What do you guys think so far? As you guys can tell, I married so far up. I mean, this stuff, when she was bringing...
I gotta tell you, this is one of the best interviews I've ever saw here on YouTube. So giving it to Karen here. Thank you. Thank you for all the hard work you've done. I sure wish that I was the one having this interview with you.
In this to me, I was just like, are you serious? You know, and then she started to show this, you know, Idaho State Police, meals and lodging, $241,478 for volunteers. Okay.
I mean, read this. You got third-party security. A UI increase in security. Okay, this may have happened to a house. They may have been students, but the university wasn't being attacked. Okay, it was the individuals being attacked. It doesn't matter if they went to school there or not. But they really took it in. Oh, they're my students. They're mine. Oh, we're not done yet. Keep reading, y'all. Student lodging, meals. So now we're going to pay for all the students. Oh, I get it. All right, so I know everybody's going to hang me because I'm sitting there saying something about, like, if you're your classmate, roommate, or somebody dies, you get a 4.0. Okay, yeah, they're putting it out on the internet that don't happen. That's a myth. Blah blah blah. When you're in secret societies, secret societies have secrets. Okay, it's completely different rules, and we've already seen how they can party their ass off, do all the drugs that they want, and we see them at the end of the year getting rewards up the wazoo. Graduation, rewards. Don't tell me that you haven't seen it. Okay? And on top of it, every single year, guys, every single, and it's only happening with the frats. It's only happening with sororities. This isn't really going on to people who are not involved in sororities, okay? It's not a lot of that happening, unless they're just hanging out with these sorority kids, okay? But they're dying. They're dying, guys. They're suicides. Why? Unexplained suicides. Overdoses. I mean, come on now. Seriously? And, and somebody's going to tell me, oh, they're not getting good grades? Okay, and then you got this here, lodging. So here's the thing, you lost your roommate. Does it pay for your lodging and your meals? Yeah, I mean, consider this isn't regular, okay? We're not talking about living just in regular housing and being a regular student. We're talking about sorority members, frat societies. They have their own rules. They are a gang of themselves. They're gangsters, politician type gangsters, where they can do things, horrible things legally. Hit that like button. You know I'm right.
Let me see. Let's wait for a second because I'm sure she's going to jump back in here. Let me text her. We're in two parts of the house here. So let me see where she went. Oh, she jumped out. She'll be right back. The detectives, et cetera. And the chief is even saying, hey, city council or whoever.
And please understand, I wouldn't use this whole content, guys, if it wasn't important. And again, thank you, interview room. And let me tell you, this is the most important information. I was getting close to it. But getting all, the documents. I'm not much for research, okay? But you did a great job, and there's still more to do. And Karen, I really hope that you look into this a little bit more. There's a big reason why they took that house down.
This is getting high and tight here. We need resources, okay? But the university, though, on the other side say, hey, this was a security incident. Okay. And now in Southern California, we used to have, huge events where you'd get 200,000-300,000 people on the beach, for an example, during 4th of July. It did not cost $241,000 to police that event. It wasn't even close to that. Okay. But third-party security, I'm assuming that's going to be the security company at some point that sat around that house. Okay,
security company. Who has the most experience with security and cameras and stuff like that? Hello, Mr. Brian Kohberger. Go security.
one guy sitting at probably $15 an hour.
Well, here's the challenge, Chris. It's further down here in the description, as you guys can see. There's already a line item budget of $97,998 for the King Road house. Does that not include security? We don't know. Part of the challenge here is that the university so far has not answered questions about break down this cost. Tell us more about this. Show us the receipts. And when you take state money, and by the way, they take state money, not just for this, but they're not a private entity. They absolutely have to respond to the taxpayers of Idaho. It's just, you can't not get away. You cannot get away with not, talking about this. We're trying to put some pressure on them. We're hoping other media does. We're hoping other YouTubers pick this up, because there's a lot of questions about this, and it goes back.
Lana from Truth and Transparency is really good at getting stuff like this. I'm just kind of surprised she hasn't. If she has and I missed it, just leave me a link. But this is the trail she really should be on. She should be getting this stuff, and hopefully she'll re-listen and maybe get that property stuff that I was telling you about. I'm still working on it, but I would have to literally get my ass over there to go get it, because ain't nobody gonna help you if you're so far away. They're not up to emailing you nothing. You gotta go chase that shit. So it's not easy.
Back to, if I could, Chris, just for a minute, and we're going to keep going down this list because I have a few other things to say about this, but they have to be responsive. They haven't, in a lot of ways, if you think about it, they're not under the gag order, talking about the university. They have certainly inserted themselves into this whole investigation, and it's Scott Green outlines that in his book. So they're not being pulled into this. They were there from the beginning. They were there having meetings with Moscow Police Department. He writes extensively about this. They are outside of the gag order. That's right. The lawyers for the university were not put in that gag order. And so he's free to go write a book and take $1 million for his university. But again, taxpayers have a right to know. People have a right to know about expenditures related to the crime scene that they demolished and all the other, we'll call them security related questions. So the next one on the list here, it says University of Idaho increase in security. My read would be that this perhaps is overtime for campus police and expenses surrounding that. I could be, I don't know. Again, the university isn't saying. Chris, what would be your read about that? Because that's another $200,000. It's a pretty big chunk.
Well, they could have hired us. Well, I could have written that plan for them. And
oh no, I'm talking about the number 3, UI increase in security. I haven't got to the consultants yet. No, I haven't got to the consultants yet.
I mean, they could probably hire anybody in the chat. Anybody, increase the security another $200,000. Look at just those 3 items. It's close to $700,000. Couched all under the umbrella of a security incident. And meanwhile, you have Idaho State Police, the FBI, Moscow Police Department, okay, all working this case, okay, and yet the university somehow decides they need $700,000 worth of, security on the campus all of a sudden. Okay. And I got to make sure, right, I give him props for putting it in his book and writing about it. The snow, toboggan incident, etc. Good stuff. Well, who paid for the volunteers from Idaho State Police? And what other police agencies also had volunteers to go to the school and go sledding with the kids? Did Boise PD send some volunteers up there? I'm just curious how many volunteers.
California sure did. They jumped right on the bandwagon.
Signed that list. Because I've been in this business 42 years, 25 on the street. Okay. And if there was a volunteer list, for us, it was, at Torrey Pines during the golf tournaments, and but here, he needed to have the students feel comfortable when 90% of them went home to their families. That's where the real comfort began, So I'm trying to figure out, this math isn't adding up. It's a lot of double talk going on here. But
I think
the consultants, go ahead.
This honestly was the part that really, I think it just sort of raised the hair on the back of my neck as an investigative journalist. Let's just break this apart for a second. They paid consultants.
Oh, and just so you know, I'm not an investigative journalist.
$126,000 and then $198,000. So we're talking, that's about $325,000. That's about 1/3 of the amount of money to do a comprehensive campus physical security review and plan, and then whatever that exactly is, and a comprehensive security policy review and plan. That's an extraordinarily large amount of money. My first question is, who are the consultants that they hired? Are these friends and associates of the administration? Are they independent? And what were their findings? I found this to be really interesting. A watchdog group, a political watchdog group that reviewed all this, that was the piece that they felt the university should have waited till the following fiscal year to even put on a line item budget. They said it has no business being in an emergency bill like this, because you can hire consultants anytime to review your plan. It's something you can always do. The fact that it was pushed into this is highly suspicious. And the reason it is because whenever you see consultants, again, as an investigative journalist, questions are, well, who are they? Are these associates? Are they known? Are they independents? Are they third parties? And what were their findings? And what will be done with their findings? Chris, you raised a really interesting point. The crimes did not happen on campus. I'm going to say that again. The crimes happened off campus. So, okay, yes, they were near campus, but are those line item expenses, and I'm asking the question, what do you guys think? Were those necessary at this point, right? It's not like there were, there was a lot of things that were unknown when the murders happened, but, within 6 weeks, they had an arrest in the case. And so, I don't know, that one, I thought, wow, $325,000, that's a third of the money went to consultants, okay? You don't have to be an investigative reporter to think that, you know what, there's a lot of questions behind that. We have questions for the university, and again, they have not been forthcoming with answering our questions. We're holding out hope that they do.
Yeah, no, and we're going to stay with this. And look at,
And the university is not under the gag order. So of course they're being very careful what comes out of their mouth, because whatever they say by accident can be used against them in the court of law in the future. Now, I already knew all this stuff. When it comes to, I just didn't know their budget, where that $1 million went to. That part I didn't know. Plus, I was on something completely different, and y'all know what I was on. But I did the best I could on my end to show you what was going on. And like I said, I'm a visual designer, so it was the best that I was able to bring you. However, I did bring some documents, and I did the best that I could. But I think this is way better.
They paid for the visual, the security technology. Apparently, that was an opportunity for IT to get in here.
Yeah, and I would like to know, absolutely, taxpayers of Idaho have a right to know what security technology was purchased by the university at the very least, the students have a right to know who go there, but absolutely the taxpayers pay the bill. Yeah, okay, it was 30 grand. What did they do? What did they do? And I'll tell you what, one of the things that got picked up in the media that was supposed to be in here is that everybody was looking for a safe shuttle service. The university came out and said, one of the things that we're going to do with this money is provide a safe shuttle service for our students around campus, not just in the evenings, but, apparently during the day. I don't see any safe shuttle in this line item. Again, if it's...
Okay, no safe shuttles, meaning no rides. Where is that at? I know I get hounded constantly on the comments. Oh, they provide rides. They provide safety if they need it. They don't have to get a private driver or any of that. The school provides it. And, I'm so tired of people putting me down and call me a conspiracy theorist. Okay, but that's why I based my channel off of that anyway. So I don't care. All conspiracy is welcome because there's truth in it. Otherwise, the conspiracy wouldn't exist. Again, keep an open mind perspective.
Buried somewhere else, then the university needs to come out and tell us where it is.
Yeah, no, I think you have been onto something on this one. Student lodging and meals.
Well, the only way we're going to get them to answer that question, Karen, is if we get them audited. So the best thing to do is to report everything that you have here to them and have them audit. Give them the complaints, your questions. If it's enough, they'll go in there, they'll find out, hey, did the money really truly go there? Or did they say it did? Again, another form of money laundering.
$8,000. Was that how many students were left over on the campus? Because, just to minus that from 241, you're good to go.
It doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't tell us anything what that
This one tells the whole story.
Yes.
This whole thing was being sold as we're moving on. The students need to heal. The community needs to heal. Everybody needs to feel good about each other. We got a toboggan event. It was great to see it going through. Do you have the book again, Karen? Can you read?
All right, so I'm going to let you rewind that. Now I'm going to take this thought from you. You remember what you're seeing in the courtroom, right? And I told you that money talks, bullshit walks. And I told you in many of my videos what's going on there. Things aren't normal when it comes to the judge or the state prosecution. So if they're not using all the funds exactly the way they said here, that means most of those funds are being pocketed. They're paying their officials off to make sure that Brian Kohberger goes down no matter what. It doesn't matter if there's not enough evidence. He's going to be convicted, and maybe they'll just spare his life and not do the death penalty. But that's probably the most they're willing to do. This is also how they were able to violate his citizen rights in Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania was more than willing to help Idaho University just because of the story, not because they had all the evidence in front of them. No, they had nothing. They had nothing in front of them. They took their word for it. I covered that for you. Okay, this is all happening, and I'm telling you, this is all happening because I truly believe that the girls were either they were trying to get out of a situation that they did not know that they were in, okay, and they were probably getting ready to sing like canaries, okay, and it still has to do with their operation where they're money laundering, and the university's trying to hide every bit of it. They're trying to hide the fact that they have that sugar babies accounts going, that they're prostituting your little girls, okay, and training your little girls to be a certain way, okay, regardless if they're into sports. Don't think that they're going to remain that independent, okay? They're training them for marriage and certain things, okay? All right, what else? I showed you photographs. I mean, I'm not the only one who showed you this stuff. Okay, you have Bubbly Waters. You have all these great channels like her. Okay, zooming in on it. Okay, you have young frat boys in blue suits. Now, they're blue. Okay, not black. Not, standing with girls with different color nightgowns, as if they're dresses. Okay, you can't tell me there's no sugar baby thing going on there. And I'm not putting. There's more. The drugs bring in the money too. The more they party and have a good time. Okay, that's why they protect their main drug dealers. They don't take them down. They only take down their competition. That's it. Because as long as as long as the university has control over the money and over where it's going, how they're money laundering, okay, they're never gonna give up their guys. The only time they will is if they don't have control over them anymore. Okay, and then don't forget the fall of FTX, and as ETH went down, and basically crypto went down in November, all because of the the scam that FTX was doing, and plus that other hex. Okay, plus not just hex, other items that you guys didn't even know of that I did show. I did do a video of it. I was kind of looking for it. I don't know where it is, but Xana. I showed you the Xana accounts, named after Xana. Okay, I showed you the fact that they very well could have thought that they were helping with what do you call investing money. Who knows if Xana was getting into investments and was working. Again, she works for other people. Where's their money? Where did it go? I mean, if there's a hit on them, their money was gone. Okay? Their product, whatever, is gone. Or somebody was getting ready to sing like a canary. That's what's going down. So the only reason why they would go after Brian Kohberger is because he's part of the security. I'm not saying that he could be a forced informant, or he could be participant informant where he's getting paid to be an informant, but he's definitely not your typical student and teaching a class, and no. So more of that will come out soon, along with receipts. I'm sure somebody will find them better than I can. But one of the best fall guy on the planet. Okay, they created a whole Ted Bundy. Okay, handsome, I guess, very well dressed, articulate, into crime stuff, PhD, but a serial killer now. I mean, all those years, all that work, all that believing in yourself, and to throw it away. I'm still on the fence on that one. Again, Taylor did get something that the prosecution still doesn't have. I think that's also why they are playing with Taylor. Don't forget, she got a drive that was found behind that TV. She never disclosed anything about that drive or whatever she found behind that television. And right now, she's only had said it was nothing. But that doesn't mean that that's true. She ain't ready to throw out her cards, because that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for all her cards. Anybody that was trying to talk to her that they don't know about, okay, before they give her what she needs. It's a game. And for us seeing how the justice system is right now, on how they're able to get this what do they call it, jury, what was it called, guys? Oh man, hold on, somebody's walking by. Indictment. Okay, so you seen how underhandedly behind Taylor's back she goes after Bethany, so she could find out why Bethany left that house. Now, Bethany wasn't there the whole night. So whatever happened before, that was what she wanted to know before she left that house. And did Bethany lock up? No, she didn't, because there's too many people there. They're already it's a revolving door. How can she lock up the house? I'm sure she probably locked up her room and she left. She was not there all night. That's the only reason why she's trying to evade being a part of this investigation in any way, or even go up on the stand, because they don't want to use her, because they don't think, because she wasn't really there, she would even be a witness to anything that truly happened. But they didn't tell you that she wasn't there. No. She left. All right. As for Dylan, what I'm thinking is that PCA with Dylan saying this and describing this is, I still, like, there's a part of me, again, this is my opinion only, that it's a lie. We all get that. But you know how they sit there and they admit that, hey, they don't tell everybody the whole story. They don't tell you the truth, because when they're trying to catch the killer, only the killer knows the truth. So where the bodies were found, they probably never told us really the truth on that specifically. Okay. They're saying the incident happened in Maddie's room. All right, we seen that big, 2 big mattresses being pulled out with blood on it, and I believe Maddie has a single bed. And I think because the Kaylee's room has a bigger bed, I believe it does from the window, from what I'm seeing, and so did Xana's room. But I don't know. I'm quite certain, there's no doubt in my mind that Maddie's bed was a single bed. But we didn't see a single bloody mattress being pulled out. I know I didn't. Okay, so we're going to get back to the rest of this. I just had no choice. I'm supposed to talk through it because this is a commentary. And I apologize, I did not put this part on, so you are able to text each other, communicate with each other, but just in case somebody says vulgar things, I don't want it to shut my channel down. So I will open that later. Maybe we'll talk later.
How he described that viral video, or do you still have it in front of you? No?
I do. I can read it again for people who are just coming in and may not have heard it. But I have to say, counseling and crisis support, that is the topic that Scott Green and the university put out in all of those early press releases and emails to their students. Come get crisis support. We're here. We've got this as a resource for you. We want to take care of our students. And guess what, guys? It's the lowest amount that they spent money. It represents a measly $3,800. Well, wait a minute. I would have thought it would have been the most. It should have been the most. $3,800 for crisis counseling and support?
Yeah, because...
Are you kidding me?
Because now we tie that into, well, we have to tear the house down to make everybody... to make this go away, and we need to move forward and keep moving forward. But you'll notice the defense isn't let you moving forward. And we said this. The defense is delay. And because it's a death penalty case, the judge is letting it happen. Judge is letting it occur. Okay? But the longer it delays, the more advantageous it comes into the defense's court. The prosecution starts losing memory from witnesses. The house is gone. Chris,
can you imagine if they
Well, this is, he's a very educated man, but here's the thing. Cases like this, it is going to take time. It's not going to be done as quickly as we all want it. It's impossible. There's a lot of things that they have to do. This is a man's life that's on the line. They, not just internet sleuths, okay, has already proven I mean, even Taylor's working on it too, that the stuff that they have is all obsolete. They're throwing out this and that, but they're not giving her at all what they are actually using. What in the hell are you using, basically? You know, really, excuse my language, but it's nerve-wracking. So the only thing that they're putting in the media's face, us, is what they want us to know, and that's it. What they want us to spread. Okay, they don't. They're going to continue holding on to this sheath, this DNA. They're not even going to use the pings. They're probably not even going to end up being able to use it anyway because there's outages. They're going to sit there. Oh, his phone was off. There's areas for outages. There's also proof that that day of the incident, even the internet was out. They were recycling and redoing something with the internet. And, you know, they were working on that thing, and it was off for everybody. Name of that company, I don't know. So we're going to have to go, and we're going to find out when they were working on it so we can get some proof. Obviously, people are like, yeah, we got the receipts. I am not the only sleuth that's been talking about it. So they probably have the receipts. So all you got to do is just look it up. And you'll probably run into the right sleuth who has the receipts. Okay. Now, we're gonna listen to the rest, but I'm gonna tell you I'm going to, with, you know, even though I'm doing this 3D thing and we're kind of moving slowly, we're gonna start with the PCA garbage and then move into our theories. I'm going to show you that the theory that they came up with is 100% bull. And then I'm going to show you how more, I'm not saying the word right, but again, this is a visual thing. You have to see this visually, okay? Where you're going to notice it's impossible for it to be just one individual to do every single thing that happened, especially the fact that they said there was a fight. You know, they're fighting for their life. Okay, so it's not, this is impossible. All right, so I'm gonna show it to you. Unless they decide to just lay there and let it all happen. Wait till they came into the room, just laid there for it. It's all bullshit. Sorry, excuse my language. Again, that's probably why I don't get any good interviews. All right, but here we go.
Do change venues. I'm not suggesting that they're going to. So then they're in a new area, the crime scene's gone, and people's memories are fading.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's crazy. It's really interesting. And, you know, there was one other thing, though, that you pointed out, Karen, that was reported to the public as of May 15th. This is another thing that you added here.
Yeah, okay. So this is interesting. So this was released to a media organization. I was trying to find it. The university hasn't released it to us. The numbers are much different than what Scott Green wrote in that letter to the legislatures that would have been about 6 months later. So, you know, these amounts you can see are quite different. And you'll notice what's not even on there. The King Roadhouse isn't even a line item. And again, this was what was released to at least one media outlet. And they got this on February 28th. That's when this was reported. So, okay, 6 months later, approximately August 1st, Scott Green makes a report to the legislature, and it's this. So, again, I mean, you know, University of Idaho releases something that they didn't even follow up on and put this out in the public.
Guys, make sure you're getting your screenshots, okay? Get your screenshots. You guys can create something out of this. You know, do something I didn't do.
As to say, hey, our numbers changed from 6 months back. It's exactly what you're looking at. That would have been through May. So now it's August, and we want to update you. So there really is a lack of transparency going on. If they
lack of transparency, That's $1 million and something dollars, right? That you seen on the other paper there. This is only 100 grand. What? 200 grand. So, where's that? Where's the rest of that money? All right, so that's 800,000, or maybe a little bit more because I didn't count the change. Okay. Where did that go? Whose pocket is it going in? Who's keeping the bullshit, alive? Who's paying who to make sure shit goes the way they want? Or to hide things, or to make sure they don't get audited? Protection. Who's it going to? Because I doubt it's going to the victims' families. Alright, so, hear me out. Victims' families. You get mad at me at all because of my channel? This is what you guys should be questioning. And if you're not questioning this, that means you're a part of this. That means what happened to your kids may be your fault. So if you're not a part of this and I'm 100% wrong, you better get up and you better get at them, because the university is your demon. The university is the people you need to go after.
Come out and tell us more about these line items. I'm going to come back to you guys and I'm going to say, well, they were transparent, but right now they're lacking transparency. Chris, go back to the other one.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of questions in chat. Flip back. Yeah. So you guys, you can see for the King Road house, almost $98,000. Even if it was to prep the house for pre-demolishing, as Scott Green has said, even if it was to abate any asbestos that was in the house, supposedly, as Scott Green has said, then give us a breakdown. That's almost $100,000 that was spent on a gifted house. And, go ahead and compare that with the crisis counseling support up above. Obviously, they're two different things, but again, it just kind of goes to they're not providing context, they're not providing details, and the public's read on this is not a good look for the university.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, a couple of the comments I've seen, the shell game going on here under the guise of the loss of life for these 4 children, or these 4 college students. And I think for me, what's interesting is the fact that they probably all know what they're doing. There's a conscious collective thought process going on here at the university. They have tried to control the narrative from day one about the impact that this would have had on their budget. In fact, he writes about it, that they were actually almost in the negative. And they were just...
Oh, wait. Didn't we just got the motive. Let me rewind this, guys. We got the motive for the murder right here. It is 100% the motive. They were going broke. They needed money. They knew exactly what to do in order to create this, in order to get this. They've done this before. When, I don't know, but this has been done before. Maybe multiple times. Maybe they even been collecting because of suicides and accidental deaths, or strange things happening with hazing, or this has been done before. This isn't their first rodeo. This is why they have the power that they have, especially over our police department. Idaho Police Department, who should have received these funds and should have been able to create their own budget. Are you joking me? They could have did all this. Why is the university doing this? Hit that like button. You wanted the motive. It's right here. Yeah, here's the motive. Motive to murder. Get some cash. I don't know what they're gonna do with this cash. I don't know what look how much money is here compared to what they really spent. Where'd it go? Where's the auditor? Somebody needs to audit these people. Get them, get them, get them. Okay? And then to spend all this time, and I'm telling you that they went to school together. They're all mostly related in some way. If they're not related by family, they're related because they grew up together. Okay? This is a crazy thing to go through. When you go to small towns, they're small towns for a reason. They're a family. And there's usually probably maybe two types of families. There's three types of families there, but they control their own turfs. They control everything. They are the boss. And then when you add the officers and anything else that they need for, I guess protection purposes and law, making sure they push the law, they work for them. I don't even know how to explain it. I just don't. I don't.
Coming out of that when the 4 students were killed. And all of a sudden, they are not under the gag order. Okay, but the judge is from U of I. The prosecution's from U of I. The defense is from U of I. And everybody comes up with the same conclusion. Everybody else has got to shut up, but the university. And what does the university start?
Oh, before we go on, didn't you just said everybody's from the U of I? What? What? So, like, all this time I'm saying they're all related, they're all inbreds. No, I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Hit that like button. Yeah, thank you. You know I deserve it. I deserve more. Come on now. Here we go. Oh, yeah, and again, wait, hold on, because I want to make sure I'm thanking. Man, what channel is this? You have to forgive me. Okay, here we go. This is the interview room. I know I used a majority of the materials, but that's because the materials were so important. Thank you so much again to the interview room. I'm going to just continue saying that. Disclosure, hey, this is for educational purposes, my opinion only. Even if I do have the facts, I'm still sitting there saying it's my opinion only, so I don't get myself sued. Okay. Thank you so much for your content, all your hard work putting this together, and allowing me to comment to it. Sorry, I was getting ready to choke on dry throat. Okay, and again, if this is unpleasing to you, sir, please reach out to me, okay, and I will create my own. I'll do some screenshots, and I will take this down, but please don't copyright me. There's no reason to do that. Just reach out to me. I do not mind taking it down. Okay, thank you.
To do almost immediately, they start firing off a PR campaign.
And let's remember, they're a for-profit business. Let's not forget that. City of Moscow is a government agency, government entity. The university, it's a for-profit business.
Yeah, and so, they decided, okay, well, this house doesn't belong there because it impacts our business model. Okay? The fact that,
I mean, that's right, but oh no. Thank God we still have lots of pictures of this house. Okay? They are hiding whatever connection this has to this area and to the back area, which I did not get to see, to the back road way up there, which also has a manhole entrance at the blue house way over here. Yeah. I forgot the name of that road, but I think everybody knows it. Everybody's been mapping it, right? So, what were they hiding down there? Don't forget, we still gotta look at buried bones. Now, That's just a saying, okay? And me putting out bones was only because of my my stalker, and it totally worked. So she made a fool out of herself, which I was loving it. But it was a metaphor, buried bones. All right, thank you. Let's move back into the goodies.
Now, we talk about DNA and we talk about those types of things. And I've said this, for quite.
All right, before we go on with our DNA stuff, I want you guys to see some. Okay, wookie wookie. Wookie woo. Now, either A, this window is in the kitchen, or I think it's a kitchen. But one thing I know for sure is that, for sure. Hold on. See this right here? The person did not enter the house through the sliding door and maybe have exited, but definitely entered through the window. Okay. This could very well come right from here. Okay? Right above my head there. She doesn't even have a screen. So, who's going in and out of Dylan's room? So, and I was thinking too, because I don't have the proper specs of this house, if this was a bathroom window, or is it a kitchen window? See, I don't have the proper specs, but I'm going to get it. But you see that the house is falling apart anyway? Okay? People talk about, oh, this is a new addition. I mean, look at this. How is this a new addition? I mean, hell no. This house is falling apart. There's so many violations, fire violations to this damn thing. Alright. That's all I gotta say. Hold up. Hit that like button, you know I deserve it. Should have like 50 right here, okay? Let's get back to the brass taxes. As I'm telling you, this channel is discussing everything I've been talking about for a whole year. Yes, I was giving it to you in pieces and pieces, and a little here, a little there, educating you with certain things. Sometimes my screen was really, really tiny, and sometimes it was... Yeah, I was trying. I was learning, okay? I never been a YouTuber in my life, and so I never knew how to run a channel. But I'm growing. I'm making it. And I have already showed you every single thing that has been talked about here, except for the money. Where she's showing the budget list. I did show you, the deed. I mean, everybody has talked about the deed to the house, how it was changing, who the owners are, who the co-owners are, who the private owner is. Private owner. Yeah. So the guy that you guys think is the owner of the house, he's really not. But he's put down as if he is the owner. He isn't. He just runs the LLC of the house. The real owner of the house, you'll be really surprised when you find out. But for now, I'm not going to say too much. I already did. If you rewind back, I gave you the answer. So if you catch it, good. If you don't, just wait for the receipts, because somebody's going to bring it if I don't. Either I will or somebody will find it. So, okay, here we go.
Some time, everybody, and is we've got to be really careful that the defense is going to go on the attack, and they have been on the attack of this DNA. And if we remember, just recently in Colorado, a lab technician from the Colorado Bureau of Investigations was just hammered because she admitted she had been doctoring DNA results. And that made national news. And it went all, and now they're going back over hundreds of murders she was involved in. This is...
I said a whoops. Yeah. And that's why they aren't using the DNA. That's the real truth, man. Right there. All because of the fact that it was admitted that there was some doctrine, that they need funds. They need to say, hey, this works. Who's going to continue paying? Who's going to contribute and help this company grow if they can't make it work? Even if they got to lie, that's what they do until they actually get it to work. Now, we've seen this in movies, okay, where they're trying to get funding for, some projects that they're doing or science that they're doing, and they lie about the project, and it doesn't work, it's dangerous, and it's not fully ready, but they lie just so they can continue getting the funds. If they don't lose the funds, they don't get shut down and lose everything. There it is. That is the truth on why they don't want to use the DNA. Or whatever led to this DNA thing, they want to throw it out. The prosecution don't want to use it, but however they did in order to get that the jury thing, the indictment, they used every single thing they said they did not want to use in the courts to get the indictment, which is really weird. Hit that like button.
Why I say, don't ever underestimate what can happen when you don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle, like the house. Okay? And because if that DNA falls, hypothetically, I don't think it will, but if it does, because we have to think like that, okay, then what else do they have? They got the tower pings, they've got the phone stuff, they've got him.
No, they still can't rely on the tower pings. You can't. Because the way the towers are set up, you can be like I would say 10 minutes away from that house and still ping to the other side of the house or close to that house. It's already been proven, so trust me, that's gone out the window.
Stalking potentially, by some of the connections.
Okay. It's stalking. It's called security. Okay. Hello. Wait till you find that out.
Instagram, that kind of stuff. But this piece of evidence here, you've got the acoustic problem where you have audio from one of the neighbors who hears a thump, and then they hear things going on in the house, and they picked it up on their camera. But you don't have the house now. So let's say a juror says, you know what? I want to understand what the sound is. So if they did have a jury view and, haul them out there like they did in Murdoch, they could go up and in that room and they can do their own assessment. That's what jurors do. They're triers of fact. They're the one who's going to determine whether or not Brian Kohberger is guilty or not guilty.
Okay. But let me tell you, if they kept that house up, they would not be able to protect Dylan. Now, unless they lied and Dylan wasn't there either, okay, which I think she was. I don't know what type of vehicle she was driving. But if she wasn't really there all night and she was only there in the morning and she had left too, okay, that's going to throw away their whole case. So that means she's off the hook. So is Bethany, because both of them weren't there for real, okay. And then that brings down the house of cards right there. Who set who up? I mean, it's done. It's over. That man's walking, whether he's guilty or innocent. Okay, he's walking out of there. He's not walking no plank. Okay, but if Dylan really was there, those incidents did happen. All right, and somebody did walk out the door, and she's seen all that. Now, that's not going to protect her, because when they can hear all those echoes, all the stuff that happens, okay, she's going to be looked at differently, much worse than what we're looking at her like. And I truly believe she was forced to say those things, or those things are lies. I don't even think she was there, but that's my opinion only. Okay, I really don't believe she was there. So unless they, I mean, if they don't put her on the stand, guys, she was never in that house.
It's not the prosecution or the defense. It is those 12 citizens that will determine that. And all the defense needs is one juror, one. Okay? And it's a hung jury, just one. The prosecution needs everybody, all 12 and the 3 alternates, depends on how many they choose, to all be on the same page in case they have to change out one of them, like Egg Lady in the Murdaugh case. That juror who came in had to have the same mindset of whether there was guilt or not, or innocence. And so I learned a long time ago, working 300 plus murders in my career, that you just never know. You do not know. So you always err on the side of caution, always. And then you're okay. It works itself out. The prosecution's able to do their thing. The defense is able to do their thing. Okay? And the university, towards the end, would have been able to say, it's over. Justice is served. It's over.
All right, let's go over the cars here. I'm thinking that this black car would be Dylan's. Because that looks like I could be wrong though, like a Jeep type, car, even though it's not a Jeep, So then this one, the silver one, or unless this is the Range Rover. So I was thinking the silver one's the Range Rover. Oh, could it be this black one being the Range Rover? Hit that like button, because I don't know. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in here, right? And there's supposed to be, how many females? We got Bethany, Dylan, we have Keely, Maddie, and what do you call it? So there's 5 cars. All their cars are here, but that doesn't mean they were here through the night. It just means they were here during the day. So who knows who was here at night? So unless there's some footage by the neighbors that maybe they can email us, that'd be nice, on what the parking lot looked like during that morning, basically. Between 1 and 4 in the morning, to get a nice shot of that. Different sequence shots if they had it, and then we would know if Dylan's vehicle was there, or because like I said, this could be any one of the other students' vehicles that parked here, came here to see what was going on, parked on the side of the roads. It still doesn't. We don't know whose car goes with who.
And then the families get to stand up and give their victim impact statement and cut loose. So, what are you thinking, Karen? Any thoughts?
A few. I think all of these are troubling. I think the delay in the trial of setting the date, a lot of people feel that obviously your heart goes out to the victims' families. But what concerns me is the longer of the wait, the more the idea that the university had, I think, could possibly take over. The university said they put it under the guise of we want this community to heal. That's the reason we need to get rid of and demolish the house. I do have concerns now that the house is gone, the longer we wait for trial. Again, the memories of the witnesses and, the surviving roommates. That's a huge concern. The longer we wait, the tougher it is for everybody. There's no outcome that is positive the longer we wait. And again, if it was just the delay of a trial, but we still had the house where jurors could view the crime scene, okay. But a lot of this is concerning. And even if you kind of set the University of Idaho aside, I think they've done actually a really good job of controlling the narrative. I really do. That they set out to do that from the jump. You saw that in press releases with their team of their media relations team that they had in place.
Yep. Don't forget, I was showing you that. Okay, she's letting you know this is a mature woman, and everybody calls me a conspiracy theorist. It blocks me from their channel. I am such a bad person. But here you go. Hopefully one day I can have her on my panel and I can ask her some questions. Maybe she can help me out with some of the stuff that I have. But I definitely would like to talk to this woman privately first, because I still got to sort through some of the things that I do have. I do, however, still would like to discuss things with the Kim, the WSU mom, to go over a few things with her privately. I have some stuff I still need to kind of verify if I'm seeing it right. That's about it. Okay, and I don't want to just give it to you because I get all gun-ho on something like I did with that one video of the car driving by. That was pretty interesting, right? But I still feel somebody colored it. I feel whoever controlled that particular video, they colored that vehicle so we wouldn't see that it's, it was the white vehicle they've been looking for. And then the way it came out on the side, the vehicle did not look the same. It looked smaller. It's like a lime green. And I gotta tell you, it was different. So you gotta watch that video when I was like, oh, forget it, I give up, But things did not add up. And I think somebody was controlling that. So getting the original on that and whoever did that video specifically would be good to know. All right, let me finish this off because she's already telling you everything I've been telling you for a year, and she did it in one segment. Everything I've been telling you for a whole year.
I don't think it's good for the victims' families. I think it was all in favor of the university, and but we thank goodness we've got a jury system and a criminal justice system. But a lot of people are worried. A lot of people watching this trial, watching the events leading up to this.
Well, I don't feel that the jury system that they have right now is at all going to be fair. Again, I'm going to relay this. It's a small town, and every one of these mother effers are related. Okay, so if they're choosing individuals from within that area to be his jury, he's not going to have a fair jury. It's not going to happen. They're going to be on the side of their families and protect their families and friends. That's where it's going to be. They're going to protect their position within that community. So they're not trying to go against their position. So let me tell you this: if the jury sides with Brian in any way, they will remember who was in that jury, and they will not be living a normal life that they have been living that whole time in Idaho. They're gonna have to move. You don't think that they won't be targeted or like tortured in some manner, okay, making their life miserable, making their life hard, coming up with weird rules on maybe where their house is, where their shed is, making them spend money to move things. I'm telling you, it will happen. So the jury is never going to take Brian Kohberger's side. Even if he's innocent, they're never going to. Because they'll be in a situation where they'll send somebody to their property, even though none of the rules exist like this. They'll create it. And they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, but your shed is over by blank inches. You have to move it over. And maybe that shed is built a certain way where you have to tear down that shed in order to move it over. Okay? And maybe it's not that easy to move. They'll choose something that they will have to move. Okay? They'll come in with other reasons. They'll come up with all kinds of stuff to make their life miserable. They'll have a tougher time going to their churches, their communities, how people will look at them, talk to them. I'm telling you, when Taylor is asking for a change of venue is very important. It's probably the most important thing. Like, I didn't think so before. I really didn't. But it's the most important thing to happen, because if we want a real jury, it doesn't matter if they heard anything on the outside skirts or if they know anything about the case. That part doesn't matter. What the problem is they're freaking related. They're all related, and they're too close. The community is too small, okay, to allow them to continue living the life that they're used to living if they're going to go against them. I don't know if any of you guys understand what I'm saying, but hit that like button if you do understand. But a change of venue is so important, because the only reason why they got that grand jury, the indictment, the way they did, is because they have no choice but to give it to them. They put that shit together fast, didn't they? Oh, while they're going over there to talk to Bethany and see what Bethany knows. Oh, they were all hooking it up. Oh, we're doing the grand jury. Oh, we're doing the indictment right away. Where did the grand jury come from? When did she get to interview with the prosecution on the grand jury? They did all this behind her back. That's how scared they were. They were that scared. Now, what bothers me is if the prosecution starts losing their, a little bit here, where their stuff is falling apart, are they going to start going after the survivors? I mean, is Bethany going to be, Bethany and Dylan, are they going to be the next victims of something? I mean, because they got to shut people up. And like I said, with Brian Kohberger, if he was involved in the informant thing and security, and he's involved in some way with these people, and he's getting ready to, he's got all the proof he needs. Well, what is the best way to shut him up without even having to really lay your hands on him? You just set him up. Let the state kill him. So, just sit there and enjoy it. Grab your popcorn and start writing books. Get rich. Start saying, opening up foundations over the whole damn thing. And I'm telling you, there's nothing but corruption. Straight up and down corruption. And who's running it? Who leads it? Who's the boss? The university.
Following the case, like us, we are very concerned. Again, who knows when the judge is going to actually set the trial date. And then we have to wait for that as well. Of course, as a journalist, I'm most concerned about this gag order that's very broad. And I just don't see how this favors the victims' families. And at the end of the day, isn't the criminal justice system about serving up justice for the victims?
Now you know why, one of the many reasons I married this young lady. And,
Oh, I didn't even know. I just knew that he was. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, this is a beautiful couple. My bad. I didn't even know. I thought he was flirting away. Oh, that's precious. All right, that's precious. I pray for something like this in the future. Wow, precious.
Not only is she brilliant, but she's got a heart of gold. And we, like everybody in our chat at the interview room here, we are victim centered. We try, I'm sure I make mistakes. I can't say that for my sweetheart, but I'm sure I've made some. But in this case, I think we've been right on. And somebody asked about the glove. We don't know what the outcome of that glove is. We know that they collected it right when Karen and I were both standing there. I mean, we saw it, right behind that trash can. But it was one of those things, again, where you just go, and I'll give you even a simple example. Let me share this here for a second. I want to see what page that is, 105. Yeah. Okay, so even if we just look at this, right? Homicide 101. Okay. All of those cars sitting there with the police car guarding it, those things should have been out of there within 48 to 24 hours, 48 hours. They should have been impounded. They should have been in a secured location to where nobody could have access to them. Okay. But in this particular case, they're working inside that house and those cars are still out there. Right? They should have been photographed, measured, as we call it, bagged and tagged, and put away somewhere. And then later you can come back, the CSIs can come back, and they can work those cars. Nobody knows if Brian Kohberger could have touched any of those cars. Nobody knows that. And I know it's a hypothetical, but it's also a possibility. And possibilities potentially could turn into probabilities.
I mean, that's true. I mean, sometimes we're walking past a vehicle, we'll touch it, rub up against it by accident, or bump into it. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I was kind of surprised that the cars were there for quite some time, but I didn't know they should have already been out. Plus, I don't think that they were equipped at the time on where to put them or type of warehouse to put them in. I don't believe that they were actually prepared for this specifically. I don't, they didn't go through something like this before specifically, where there's more than 2 dead. Okay, so, and this is 4 individuals gone, 2 survivors. They can't even drive their own vehicles around. They have to leave their vehicle. They have to vacate their own vehicle. They can't. So they're impounding all 5 vehicles. And if any of these are other people's, like very well could have been Chapin's car, and not Dylan's, and probably Dylan's not even over there, or Bethany's car is probably not even in here. It could probably be 2 other individuals, but because they parked here, they're not allowed to move it. because they were at the murder scene before authorities. They're not allowed to go. They're not allowed to touch it. So.
And so these are the kind of things that I saw in the very beginning of this thing. You know, walking out of the house and giving back all of the property, you know, that belonged, you know, to the victims, you know, etc. That's always great until you are on the stand and the defense attorney says, so what was in this box? I want to show you this photograph. What exactly was in this box that you gave away? I don't know. I don't know, you know, answer, right? Was it possible there could be some exculpatory evidence that would clear my client in that box, do you think? I don't know. And you see, you get enough of those and you just keep going, right? We could pound this thing, okay? And if that's the case, and if this was a processed crime scene by then, internally, well, externally is the crime scene as well. And those cars should have been out of there, lickety split. Okay? Because we now know, well, at least there's evidence, that the suspect came in through the back. That means he was outdoors. That means he was outside. His car was parked in the front. Did he pass those cars? Did he touch the windows and look in? Did he touch the windows in the front and look in? We see them in the back throwing red wop, which is powder backwards, okay, on the windows. Could he have touched one of these vehicles? Well, you know what? It snowed. You can see the snow all over the white car. That's not good. It's never good because the weather can disintegrate things, DNA, fingerprints, etc. So,
Oh, and that's a proven fact. Ice will get rid of any stain. So if you have a stain issue, you drop some blood on your shirt, all you do is use ice and that'll disappear. So yeah, ice will kill any DNA, any blood, it'll kill anything. You don't even need bleach. Just get yourself a whole bag of ice. Yeah, if you don't believe me, give it a try.
these are the kind of things that should have been resolved quickly through a decision-making process. But unfortunately, they assigned an investigator with zero experience
Okay.
in a home.
Real quick though, if you don't believe me about the ice, what I want you to do is you get yourself a piece of steak, right? It's got some blood on it, some good blood, right? Put it on a white t-shirt. Let it sit for a few minutes, okay? Then I want you to get a thing of ice, it doesn't matter if it's just one cube. And you start rubbing it on there and watch it disappear. Do a video. Okay, and watch it disappear. Now, the more blood you have, the more ice you'll need. Small amount, you only need 1 cube. Okay, large amount, you'll need maybe 2, maybe 3. But ice will take out blood out of anything. You learn that as a woman, so sometimes accidents happen, and we really don't want to get rid of our favorite panties. So, boom, you rub that ice on, and panties are back to normal, almost as if they're brand spanking new.
Aside. He's a great warrior for our country in the Army. He had zero homicide experience.
And he was on the job for what, 3 years, perhaps?
2 to 3
Something
years.
like that. Maybe less than 3 years.
Right. And so I want to be optimistic and say, okay, I can't wait to see all of the evidence that's going to come down. But, they didn't put me on a major caper like this when I first started the game. When I was first transferred into homicide in 1990, they didn't say, hey, by the way, we got a major caper over here. You're the guy. No, didn't happen. So with that, sweetheart, any closing thoughts? And we're going to go to Hawaii.
Do you want to take a few questions if there are any?
Oh, sure. Let me see if there's any up here.
Okay.
You guys have
I saw a couple.
Oh, I just saw
by
these
in
two.
chat.
I apologize, Asimi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asimi.
You guys.
Pointer Lover. And Wicked Wild and Wise.
This is a beautiful couple. Wow. I'm glad to meet his wife here. I've never seen her before, but a very smart woman. I think they're a perfect couple.
I come in your, yeah, exactly right. I was at work. Exactly. Had a great time tonight. Thanks, Karen, for digging deep. Yes, she does. I mean, she absolutely does. Well, you know what story I love to have? I know you don't like to tell it, but tell the story. This is how tenacious this girl is. Tell them when you had the Hell Bop, the Heaven's Gate situation. When everybody remember Heaven's Gate? What was his name? Applewhite or something like that?
Marshall White.
White.
Goes back to, I think, 1996. And this is when he was a cult leader. They had 30, 40 of them perhaps in a...
Right. So, again, she moved past the Brian Kohberger and Idaho talk. So I will leave a link, the original link, so you guys can go straight there and listen to the rest. Now, I overly used the materials in which they had, but every single thing that they were talking about was extremely important. It is what I've been stressing in every single video I've ever made. Even though I was coming up with other ideas and other theories, because that is what this channel is supposed to be, I still never jumped off of this boat. I never moved away from the fact that the university is a part of this whole thing. But unfortunately, now that the house is down, somebody's got to investigate the land before they do something with it. Alright? Really, you've really got to. And then investigate also the landscape. I think when they recorded it, like before they built the house on top of that land, what was going on? Why did they have to build the house the way they did? We have to go very, very far back. Now, they're going to have to start allowing us to walk on the land before they touch it, before they mess with it, before they continue taking the rest of that mound down. I know what was under the house may not have anything to do with what happened to them. The perp never used the basement. Okay, we know this. Never used the tunnel system. That perp was outside, came in through a window, did everything like a normal robber would do. Somebody that was robbing a house or breaking into a house. But why? Why were they sent there? Why that house, no other? As close as they are to the other party houses, there's about 3 of them. Why risk any one of those 3 to come to their aid or to catch? I mean, this person could literally get messed up if the houses next door came over. Okay? Why didn't anybody from next door come over? It's impossible it was that quiet. But there's definitely something else that the university doesn't want anybody to know about. And I truly feel that there was cameras in that house. Maybe there may be in other houses too, who knows? And every room is being watched, even if they don't know they were being watched. And I truly believe that most of it was being sold. Maybe also things were running through the house and being stored in a way that they didn't, that the people that were upstairs all the time, our characters that were upstairs are just lookouts, probably didn't know nothing about these hiding areas, but they're lookouts. They're there to watch that house. They're there for a reason, not just a party. But now that house is down, so a lot of proof is gone. And I believe that they want an even playing field. They cannot win if that house stayed up. They would actually lose. Their case, their theory on how they think one man did it, it would be gone. But again, thank you for watching. Everything I said was my opinion only. Even if I think that they're facts, even if you guys find proof that what I was saying is facts, or these individuals were putting out facts, you know what I'm saying? But, and again, wanted to make sure I brought it to your attention. If you missed anything, you need to go back into my videos so that you can see that I have been talking to you about this long before anybody even thought. Okay, let's look at the date. This is only 3 days ago. They have a very high, subscriber list. But it took them 3 days ago. Maybe, of course, for her to do her research and everything may have took a couple months. But they couldn't have done this a year ago like I did. They couldn't come up with any of this any sooner. And it's just now they're thinking about it. Where somebody like me, who has been put down, picked on, bullied, lost my channel 3 times over stupid stuff, but kind of being shut up, for it to be okay now, for the same thing I've been telling you to come out, it is bothersome. But however, I do love this channel. I have no conspiracy about this channel. I apologize if it sounded like I did. This channel I love watching all the time and I appreciate it. And thank you for watching. And again, these guys are true, and I mean true, crime community channel. Okay, they're real. So, thanks for watching.